Hello everyone, welcome to PRATHAM Test Prep YouTube channel. I'm Ashish Bhargav and welcome to another episode of Daily News Analysis as we do from the Monday to Friday at sharp at 11:30 a.m. So as we know that today is Monday, so we discuss about the current affairs based newspaper analysis that we is from the Hindu and Indian Express. So as we know that a newspaper is very crucial for the students who are preparing for the competitive exams, and in this news analysis that we cover the important news from all major newspaper covered in this session. As we know that the daily news analysis that we cover from national news, international news, economy based news, sports based news, science and tech, personal news, summits and conference, miscellaneous, and apart from that we cover the news that is based on Supreme Court verdict or any state initiative, because they will use to ask in your exam. So because especially for the students, Supreme Court verdicts is important for the especially for the students who are preparing for the CLAT exam. Now moving further, so here is the quote of the day: if your voice is high, only a few people will hear. If your thought is high, then many people will listen. So inculcate this thought process. You need to develop such kind of thought process like reading newspaper and articles based news. That is very important. Now moving further, here is the questions of the day, and at the end of this YouTube session that will give you the 3 to 5 questions, which is very important, because if you are solving the question having a good command over the content, and as well as we can say that content as well as that and temperament also, because this is very important, because until and unless you will not solving the questions MCQ, this is not beneficial for you, right? Because the main exam, that only one thing that you need to do is to solving the current affairs. And here is our Pratham Test Prep mentor. As we know that here daily news analysis that we take from Monday to Friday, and deep dive session that is taken by me. And here's Sanjeet sir, they were taken by legal Darpan class at 3 p.m. And here is Juhi ma'am, who is taking current affairs Samvad, is from 8:30 Monday and Friday. And Hema ma'am, that taken deep dive session at 3 p.m. at every Thursday. And that maths mudda, that is from the once in a month. And then Girish are taking the logical reasoning and vocab session. As we know that the synonyms, antonyms, are many current affairs things, and reading comprehension, it requires the vocabulary. So boost your vocabulary with the all the three mentors. So Yatin sir, and here is the other two person. So now moving further to the next, here is the very first news. As we know that is Delhi police will conduct a narco test on Aftab Poonawala, and the man accused of killing his wife, live-in partner Shraddha Walkar in May this year, and Poonawala has consented to the test and told the Delhi court that he is aware of the consequences. Now that what does it mean the word narco test is? As we know that in which an injection of sodium pentanol. What exactly is narco test is? In narco test, is it is know that it is a injection of sodium pentothal is thought to make one speak the truth. And how the test work in a narco or narco analysis test, a drug called a sodium pentothal is injected into the body of the accused, which transport them hypnotic, or we can say sedated state, in which their imagination is neutralized. And in this hypnotic state, the accused understood is being capable of lying and is expected to divulge information that is true, because वो अपने consciousness में नहीं होता, और इसकी high dose that was very dangerous, इसलिए हाई कोर्ट की परमिशन के बगैर आप नार्को टेस्ट नहीं ले सकते. And one more thing is that sodium pentothal or sodium thiopental is a fast acting short duration anesthetic which is used in larger doses to sedate patient during surgery. जब आपकी सर्जरी होती है किसी बॉडी पार्ट से, वहाँ भी इसको हम यूज़ करते हैं मेडिकल पर्पस के लिए. इट इज समटाइम्स रेफर्ड टू एज अ ट्रूथ सेरम. नार्को टेस्ट सोडियम पेंथोथल को हम ट्रूथ सेरम भी कहते हैं, ट्रूथ सेरम. एंड इट इज सेड टू हैव बीन यूज्ड बाय इंटेलिजेंस ऑपरेटिव ड्यूरिंग वर्ल्ड वॉर सेकेंड. फर्स्ट टाइम इसको वर्ल्ड वॉर सेकेंड में यूज़ किया गया था. Restriction on the test in Selvi versus state of Karnataka. So one case study you need to remember is in Selvi versus state of Karnataka, or in 2010, Supreme Court bench comprising the Chief Justice of India KG Balakrishnan and Justice R.V. Ravindran and I.M. Panchal ministers, I.M. Panchal ruled that lie detector test should be administered except the basis of consent of the accused. Those who volunteer must have access to a lawyer and have a physical, emotional, and legal implication of the test explained to them by police and lawyer, the bench said. The result of a narco test is not considered a confession. However, any information subsequently discovered with the help of such a test can be admitted as evidence by the Supreme Court. मतलब उस सोडियम पैंथोथल के बाद अगर आप जो भी चीज़ें आप बताओगे that would be count as evidence would be in the court और without high court की permissions के, and the person must to need the consent कि yes हाँ मुझे consequences के लिए मैं तैयार हूँ, मुझे ऐसे कोई issues नहीं है. तो जो यहाँ पे आफ्ताब पूना वाला है, तो आफ्ताब को यहाँ पे उसने अपने फॉर्म में मेंशन किया कि यस मुझे कोई इशू नहीं है, बिकॉज देयर हैव अ काइंड ऑफ सस्पिशंस लाइक ऑन दिल्ली पुलिस की ये शायद से झूठ बोल रहा हूँ. मेन पॉइंट हमें ये देखने की सोडियम जो नार्को टेस्ट है उसमें कौन सी मेडिसिन यूज़ की जाती है, दैट इज ऑन टू बी अ सोडियम पेंथोथल. सो अगेन नेक्स्ट न्यूज़ इज अगेन लाइक अ विक्टिम ब्लेमिंग. तो श्रद्धा वालकर केस में वी कैन से that yet another all familiar instance of victim blaming and stereotyping in Ministry of State, a Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs जो हमारे थे कौशल किशोर at laid the blame of domestic violence on the shoulders of educated women. So आजकल हमारी सोसाइटी में जो educated women हैं उनके साथ भी ऐसा होता है. पहले के टाइम में there was a male dominating society, और जब मेल डोमिनेटिंग सोसाइटी थी तो वहाँ पे ऐसा करते थे लोग, मतलब देयर वाज अ लॉट्स ऑफ वी कैन से consequences that we can say on that time डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस के टाइम में फीमेल को झेलनी पड़ती थी. बट इस टाइम में आप देखेंगे कि जो एजुकेटेड वुमेन्स हैं who choose the like non-traditional relationships such as living over marriage. So ministers was speaking in the context of murder 27 years old living partner with South Delhi Meroli that recently came to light. And Aftab Poonawala allegedly strangled his partner Shraddha Walkar in May. So, and we can see the body and disposing across the city and all that. So, point is that despite pushback and movements such as Me Too, incident of gender-based crime act as a triggers for rising questions about a woman's choice, her morality in this case, and bogey of familiar ghost. Love jihad and its attended manifestation of Islamophobia in overarching patriarchal flag systematically attuned to play judges and jury over the lives of women. So we get lost in the fact that crime against women by initiate partners remains a grim reality in India. क्योंकि despite having many efforts that has been taken by the government of India, आप देखेंगे बहुत सारे इनिशिएटिव्स लिए फॉर द अपलिफ्टमेंट एंड विमेन एम्पावरमेंट, बेटी बचाओ बेटी पढ़ाओ. विल सी द मेनी टाइम दैट female is not safe in our country. So in that context you will see that our country is a developing nation. So अगर आप एक डेवलप्ड नेशन को देखो तो वहाँ वुमेन्स को पूरी लिबर्टी होती है, वहाँ पे इस टाइप के क्राइम्स के रेशियो बहुत कम होते हैं. ऐसा नहीं कि क्राइम का रेशियो वहाँ पे बिल्कुल जीरो होती है, बट जिस स्टेट में और जहाँ पे आप देखेंगे कि जहाँ पे वुमेन्स के लिए सब कुछ वहाँ पे फैसिलिटीज़ दी हुई हैं, अम्यूनिटीज़ गवर्नमेंट प्रोवाइड करती है, वहाँ पे ऐसे केसेस के चांसेस नहीं हो सकते. फॉर एग्जांपल अगर आप देखें इन आवर कंट्री दैट इज़ केरला, जहाँ पे आपका सेक्स रेशियो बहुत अच्छी है, सेक्स रेशियो बहुत अच्छी इन टर्म्स ऑफ 1021 जो है केरला की सेक्स रेशियो है पर 1000 मेल पे, मतलब वहाँ फीमेल ज़्यादा है मेल कम है. देखो वो स्टेट क्या है, दैट इज़ अ प्रॉस्पेरस स्टेट, वहाँ की लिटरेसी बहुत अच्छी है. जो भी स्टेट डिप्राइव्ड होंगे वहाँ पे आप देखेंगे कि वुमेन की कंडीशन अच्छी नहीं होंगी. लाइक वी टॉक अबाउट उत्तर प्रदेश, लाइक वी टॉक अबाउट बिहार, लाइक वी टॉक अबाउट मध्य प्रदेश, लाइक वी टॉक अबाउट हरियाणा में तो सबसे लोवेस्ट सेक्स रेशियो है आपका, जहाँ पे ओनली 820 एज पर द सेंसस 823 फीमेल है एज पर द 1000 मेल. तो दैट्स वाई वी कैन से दैट बहुत सारे गवर्नमेंट इनिशिएटिव ले रही है फॉर द अपलिफ्टमेंट ऑफ वुमेन. सो अकॉर्डिंग टू अ रिपोर्ट रिलीज बाय द नेशनल क्राइम रिकॉर्ड ब्यूरो, सो नेशनल क्राइम रिकॉर्ड ब्यूरो जो आपका है नेशनल क्राइम रिकॉर्ड ब्यूरो इन अगस्त दिस ईयर 42878 इंस्टेंस ऑफ क्राइम अगेंस्ट वुमेन इन 2021, 15% increase from the year before. The most cases at we can say that 31.8% were recorded under cruel by husband or by his relatives. जितने भी केसेस आए उसमें 31% केसेस ये थे कि वुमेन्स के खिलाफ जो केसेस हो रहे हैं या तो उनके हस्बैंड करते हैं वहाँ पे, या तो उनके रिलेटिव्स उनको लाइक दे आर ट्राइंग टू रिब्यूकिंग हर. So for those caught in abusive relationship, It is often difficult to make sense of coercive control that holds them hostage, but we can say that statistics indicates that what is instant debates over who is blamed and who cannot. That for women is feel safe in their homes, in their choice with their partners, it is necessary to extend them and soul solidarity to support the jagged edges of judgment. Now, as the Supreme Court के new judgment जो थे इसमें, it has clearly mentioned that living partners also counted as a considered as a parts of family. So that's why it's need to be there are many efforts has been taken, but despite having all these efforts, all things goes into the vain. So this is the main crux of the article. Here is the second news is draft digital data protection bill tabled for public comments. अभी क्या था हमारा इस आर्टिकल को लिखी है युतिका भार्गव ने. सो बेसिकली पर्सनल डेटा कलेक्ट करना यूजर्स से ऑनलाइन, डेटा कलेक्ट करना ऑफलाइन, बट लेटर उसको डिजिटाइज करना, एंड पर्सनल डेटा प्रोसेस बाय एन इंडिविजुअल फॉर द पर्सनल डोमेस्टिक पर्पस. अगर हम डेटा बिल की अगर बात करें इसमें, तो यू विल सी दैट कि अगर डेटा प्रोटेक्शन बिल है तो उसमें दिट इज वायलेशन ऑफ समवन प्राइवेसी आल्सो व्हिच इज इंश्राइंड इन आर्टिकल 21 ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, राइट. सो यूनियन गवर्नमेंट ने विदड्रॉ किया लॉन्ग अवेटेड पर्सनल डेटा प्रोटेक्शन बिल 2019 को टू रिप्लेस इट विद अ न्यू बिल विद अ कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव फ्रेमवर्क एंड कंटेम्प्रेरी डिजिटल प्राइवेसी लॉज. तो ये है कि हमारा डेटा पर्सनल बिल. द पर्सनल डेटा प्रोटेक्शन बिल वॉज इंट्रोड्यूस इन इंडियाज पार्लियामेंट ऑन December 11, 2019. इस डेट को याद रखनी है. It says the rules for the how personal data should be processed and stored and list people's right with respect to their personal information. और ये बिल क्या डिमांड करता है? Establish a data protection authority in the country for the protection of digital privacy of individuals. But what would be the significance of data protection? तो significance अगर आप देखेंगे इसमें, तो data is a large collection of information that is stored in a computer or in a network. So data is collected and handled by entities called data fiduciaries, while the fiduciary control how and why data is processed. The processing itself may be a third party or data processors. और इसके बाद क्या है कि इसमें क्या है कि for example in US, Facebook fell into controversy for the action of the data processors. Cambridge University ने उसको रिवील भी किया था. And the process of this data based on the one's online habit and preferences, but without prior knowledge of the data subject, has become an important source of profit for big corporation. So इस आर्टिकल में यही दी गई है कि how the data उसके आपके फायदे भी हैं और उसके नुकसान भी हैं. And apart from that, we can say this has become a potential avenue for invasion of privacy. It can reveal extremely personal aspect. Here is the third news is India's first private rocket lift off from ISRO space port. 6-meter tall launch vehicle Vikram S. इसका नाम आपको याद रखना है, विक्रम S, नेम आफ्टर विक्रम साराभाई. विक्रम S इंडिया का फर्स्ट रॉकेट लॉन्च हुआ था 1963 में फ्रॉम थुम्पा. थुम्पा इज अ प्लेस इज फ्रॉम वी कैन सी तिरुवनंतपुरम. मेरे तिरुवनंतपुरम that is located somewhere that is the capital of Kerala. So India first private rocket जो है विक्रम S lift from the ISRO launch from Sriharikota. And Sriharikota is कहाँ पे आपका? Sriharikota that is located in the Andhra Pradesh. So it was a historic moment when Vikram S, India's first privately developed rocket, lifted off precisely at 11:30 a.m. on Friday from Indian Space Research Organization launched in Sriharikota, and Sriharikota is located in Andhra Pradesh. Developed by Hyderabad-based startup Skyroots and Aerospace Private Limited. तो ये आप दो चीज़ें याद रखनी है. इसको किसने डेवलप किया? It is based by the Skyroot Aerospace Private Limited and 6-meter tall vehicle. तो यहाँ पे Skyroot Aerospace, and we can say that a 6-meter tall vehicle has a peak altitude of 89.5 kilometer and then splash into the Bay of Bengal about 5 minutes after the launch. This mission was titled PRATHAM. The rocket Vikram S is a single-stage solid-fuel suborbital rocket developed by over 2 years by incorporating advanced technology including carbon composite structures. Now moving further, as we will see that something about Vikram S. So Vikram S rocket launch India's first privately developed rocket lifts off from Sriharikota. सो इंडिया फर्स्ट आप देखिए यहाँ पे नागा भारत डाका एंड पवन चंद्रा. सो India first privately developed rocket Skyroot's Vikram series of space launch vehicle of named after Dr. Vikram Sarabhai. This is the founder of Indian space program. Vikram I 480 kg का 500 km low inclination orbit. Vikram second 595 kg to 500 km low inclination orbit. Vikram third 815 kg to 500 km low inclination orbit. So ये नाम याद रखनी है कि like it is a name after the Vikram Sarabhai Vikram Sarabhai. और विक्रम साराभाई स्पेस सेंटर भी हमारे कंट्री में. सो द टू पर्सन नेम नागा भारत डाका एंड पवन चंदना नीड टू बी रिमेंबर. सो इंडिया फर्स्ट प्राइवेट लॉन्च व्हीकल. स्पेस टेक्नोलॉजी स्टार्टअप स्काईरूट एरोस्पेस एंड मेड हिस्ट्री बाय सेंडिंग इंडिया फर्स्ट. इसका नाम याद रखनी है स्काईरूट एरोस्पेस. प्राइवेटली डेवलप्ड रॉकेट विक्रम एस इनटू स्पेस अंडर द प्रारंभ मिशन. किस मिशन में? प्रारंभ मिशन के अकॉर्डिंग इसको स्पेस में सेंड किया गया. If you talk about Skyroot aerospace in an Indian startup in the aerospace business, so Vikram S rocket is a single stage suborbital launch vehicle and which could carry 3 customer payloads. Suborbital flights are those vehicles which are traveling slower than the orbital velocity, meaning it is fast enough to reach outer space but not fast enough to stay in an orbit around the earth. It would help test and validate the majority of the technologies in the Vikram series of space launch vehicle. And Skyroot has been working on 3 different Vikram rocket version. The Vikram I can launch with 480 kg of payloads, where Vikram second 595 and third one is 815, which we have already discussed. प्रारंभ मिशन क्या था जिसके तहत इसको लॉन्च किया गया? So as we know that the प्रारंभ mission is aimed to at carrying 3 payloads into space, including a 2.5 kg payload that has been developed by students from several countries. Our Prarambh mission and the Vikram S rocket were developed by the Hyderabad-based startups and extensive support from Indian Space Research Organization and in Space Indian National Space Promotion and Authorization Center. Next one is a sweet, not protein, in bamboo fruit triggers rat boom. So एक study ने इसको बताया कि spanning 13 years has shed interesting light on flowering on Melocana bacifer tropical bamboo species that has long fascinated research from its association with an occurrence of bamboo death, rat floods and we can say famines in northeast India. So देखते हैं इसमें क्या चीज़ें हैं. Gregarious bamboo flowering की अगर बात करें तो gregarious flowering of bamboo क्या है? Gregarious bamboo flowering refers to phenomenon when all population of particular species flower roughly at the same time. Bamboo plants die after flowering and setting seeds. Such synchronized flowering, sometimes at interval as long as 50 to 120 years, may bring its wake a swarm of rats, subsequent famine and loss in lives of livelihoods. So अगर हम बात करें इसकी gregarious flowering of bamboo in the northeast, gregarious bamboo flowering is notorious for causing famine in Mizoram and Arunachal Pradesh. A saying goes in the northeastern state, when bamboo flowers, death and destruction will follow. Next one is Modi to inaugurate Kashi Tamil meet in Varanasi. So what is the relation of Kashi Tamil Sangam? So Prime Minister Narendra Modi ने इसको inaugurate किया monthly long Kashi Tamil Nadu Sangam in Varanasi. तो इसमें 30 days की event है, aim at you can rediscovering centuries old bond of knowledge and ancient civilization. Sorry everyone. So we can say that 30-day event aimed at rediscover centuries old bond of knowledge and ancient civilization linking. जो हमारा ancient civilizations है, ancient civilizations linkage between the country north and south, because north and south, culture and cuisine and music of Tamil Nadu to peoples of Uttar Pradesh. After the inauguration, around 2,500 to 3,000 people from Tamil Nadu are expected to reach Varanasi in 12 different groups. But we have to keep an eye that what was the link of Kashi and Tamil earlier. So you will see in this article Kashi Tamil Sangam and we can say Dravsha Darshan. So the Indian Council for Research of International Economic Relations in early 2000 reports highlighted the power of India's civilizations, purposely noted that the world's largest temple was in Cambodia, right? वो जो world largest temple है, world largest temple is Cambodia. That was still a Sanskrit speaking village in Vietnam, strong roots of the civilization that was significantly present in Indonesia, which also had a universally named after Guru Sandipant. So such a civilization is strengthened driven through cultural unity and focal time of Kashi Tamil Sangam, which present the Bharat, Bhavana, Raga and Tala. So authenticity of Kashi Tamil Sangam will now own way present the accurate certainty the historical connections between Kashi and Tamil Nadu, which is definitely a foundation pillar of Bharata's past. Such pillars will engage the state a safe bet for the aspirational superpower Bharat. Right? So इसमें इसी articles को हमने study करी. Now moving further, India and Russia agreed to deepen cooperation of counter-terrorism at UN. So ahead of India presidency of UN Security Council in December, India and Russia agreed to deepen cooperation on counter-terrorism issues and enhance bilateral coordinations, which means that both the countries will meet to each other and having a trade also. So United Nations ने statement issue किया Ministry of External Affairs, MEA and Russian Ministry of Foreign Affairs. तो स्टेटमेंट ने ये बताया, स्टेटमेंट में ये चीज़ें कही गई कि टॉक्स बिटवीन रशिया एंड डिप्टी फॉरेन मिनिस्टर लाइक सर्जी वर्शम एंड सेक्रेटरी वेस्ट संजय वर्मा इन न्यू दिल्ली, उसमें कंसल्टेशन को रिअफॉर्म किया गया, म्यूचुअल कमिटमेंट एंड एज वी नो दैट कि इंडिया इज अ वी कैन से इंडिया इज अ नॉन परमानेंट member of UNSC, which is United Nations Security Councils. So two sides also discussed India's presidency of UNSC in the month of December. Now moving further, boost investment in a smart tech, AIIB urged. So Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman on Friday asked the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank to scale up investment in renewable energy and smart technologies, and also urged the multilateral agency to set up the regional office in India. So Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank की अगर बात करें तो you have a short brief about AIIB, which is Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. It is a multilateral development bank with a mission to improve social and economic outcome in Asia. Make sure only in Asia, not in Europe. It meets client needs by unlocking new capital and investing in infrastructure that is green technology enabled and promote regional connectivity. And it is for the we can say for the welfare of the Asian nation. It is established by the AIB Article of Agreement entered into force in December 2015. Make sure it is started in 2015, which is multilateral treaty. The party 57 founding members to agreement comprises the membership of bank. AIIB, which is Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, membership has grown up to 102 countries now, and its headquarters is Beijing and began its operation in January 2016. So we have to, as we know that the maximum portion about AIB and India की बात करें, Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, the AIB have approved more loans for India than any other member of the bank. China is the biggest shareholder. So biggest shareholder is China, and India is the second largest shareholder. And AIB has funded 28 projects in India amounting 6.7 billion. It has recently emphasized green project and supporting public health initiating during the COVID-19 pandemic and besides infrastructure. In October 2021, India applied for loans from the AIB and Asian Development Bank ADB to procure 667 million doses of COVID-19 vaccine, with the ADB expected to lend USD 1.5 billion. Now moving further, Andaman and Nicobar's 6 GI tag for the Nicobari Hodi boat. As we know that GI tag applications जो है geographical indications. GI tag, which means geographical indication. So geographical indication registry at Gundai, Chennai, कहाँ पे चेन्नई में received की application from the tribal development councils. और उसमें आपको जीआई टैग एप्लीकेशंस क्या होता है, उस चीज़ की इंटरनेशनल इंपॉर्टेंस अच्छी हो जाती है. सो इंटरनेशनल लेवल पे उसकी इंपॉर्टेंस अच्छी हो जाती है. जोग्राफिकल इंडिकेशन का उसको जीआई टैग मिली हुई है. इंडिया फर्स्ट जीआई टैग मिली थी दार्जिलिंग टी को. दार्जिलिंग टी इज द फर्स्ट ये हमारा आर्टिकल था जिसको कि फर्स्ट ऑब्जेक्ट जिसको कि दार्जिलिंग टी को फर्स्ट टाइम दी गई थी जीआई टैग. सो वी हैव टू शॉर्ट अबाउट द जीआई टैग है क्या हमारा. होती एक निकोबारी ट्राइब ट्रेडिशनल क्राफ्ट होती है. इट इज अ आउटरिगर कैनन वेरी कॉमनली ऑपरेटेड इन द निकोबार ग्रुप्स ऑफ आइलैंड. सो जीआई टैग के बारे में अगर आपको इन्फॉर्मेशन दें तो इट इज एन इंसिग्निया प्रोडक्ट हैविंग अ यूनिक जियोग्राफिकल ओरिजिन एंड एवोल्यूशन ओवर centuries with regard to spatial equality or reputed attributes. It is a mark of authenticity and ensure that registered authorized users or at least those residing inside the geographic territory are allowed to use the popular product names. GI tag in India is governed by Geographical Indication of Goods Registration and Protection Act 1999 and it is issued by Geographical Indication Registry Chennai. बेनिफिट्स क्या होता है जीआई टैग के बाद, यू विल सी इट प्रोवाइड्स लीगल प्रोटेक्शंस टू इंडियन जियोग्राफिकल इंडिकेशंस, thus preventing unauthorized use of registered GIs by others. It promotes economic prosperity of product producer of goods produced in a geographical territory. GI protection in India leads to recognition of the product in the other countries, thus boosting export. Now, Pratham gets India Indira Gandhi Prize for its work in education. So, as you know, is a kind of NGO, Indira Gandhi Prize for the Peace of 2021. Former Vice President Hamid Ansari presented the Indira Gandhi Prize for the Peace, Disarmament and Development of 2021 to Pratham, an NGO functioning in the field of education. The award is recognition of Pratham's work in ensuring quality education for children of the country, particularly during the pandemic. So if you talk about Pratham है कि हमारा एक civil society organization has been conferred the Indira Gandhi Prize for Peace, Disarmament and Development for 2021. Pratham is dedicated to improving the quality of education among underprivileged children in India and across the world. So in Indira Gandhi Prize for Peace, Disarmament and Development was instituted in the memory of former Prime Minister by a trust, Indira Gandhi Memorial Trust, in the name in 1986. It consists of monetary award of 25 lakh along the citation. The award is given to individuals or organizations who work towards ensuring international peace and development, ensuring that scientific discoveries are used to further the scope of freedom and better humanity. So if you talk about Pratham, it was set up in 1995 and began to work in the slum areas by setting up community-based preschools and offering remedial education to students who lagging behind in their classes. Its annual status for education report ASER, based on surveying 6,000 rural Indian children, is now used as a model to assess education outcomes and learning deficiencies in 14 countries over 3 continents. And ASER report जो होती है, which is annual status for education report that is published by the Pratham, to respond to concern raised by the ASER in 2007. Pratham launched its flagship program Read India, which aims to improve children's learning by strengthening basic reading and arithmetic. An award for Pratham was awarded for the pioneer work over more than a quarter century in seeking to ensure that every child has access to quality educations, for its innovative use of digital technologies to deliver educations, and for its programs to provide skills to young adults, for its regular evaluations of the quality of education, and for its timely response in enabling children to learn during the COVID-19 related schools closure. Next news is hypertension, a kicking time bomb in India adolescents. So high blood pressure जो है is occurring is one of 3 or 4 children in our country, and this is much higher than earlier estimates. About 7% elevated blood pressure is more prevalent in poorer than the richest category. So hypertension is because high blood pressures is already a problem of great magnitude in India. The Indian National Health Portal reports that 30% of adults in India have elevated blood pressure, a little higher in urban 34% compared with the rural 28%. So hypertension क्या है? Hypertension is when blood pressure is too high. Southern states have a higher prevalence of hypertension than the national average. Kerala have 32.8% men and 30.9% women has the highest number, followed by Telangana. 21.3% of women and 24% of men aged above 15 have hypertension in the country. एंड इसके लिए इंडिया ने हाइपरटेंशन कंट्रोल इनिशिएटिव्स लिया. और क्या है ये इनिशिएटिव्स? सो इंडिया हाइपरटेंशन कंट्रोल इनिशिएटिव्स, द प्रोग्राम वाज लॉन्च इन November 2017. The first year IHCI covered 26 districts across 5 states: Punjab, Kerala, Madhya Pradesh, Telangana and Maharashtra. December 2020, IHCI was expanded to 52 districts across 10 states: Andhra, Chhattisgarh, Karnataka, Kerala, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Punjab, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, West Bengal. These states have a maximum number of hypertension issue, मतलब कि cases ज़्यादा रहते हैं country में. And the Health Ministry, the Indian Council of Medical Research, state government and WHO India began a 5-year initiative to monitor and treat hypertension. India has committed CUET 25 by 25 goal. The goal aims to reduce premature mortality due to non-communicable disease by 25% by 2025. As we can see, the WHO World Health Organization की वेबसाइट से दी हुई है. Hypertension sign and symptoms: fainting, low blood pressure, fatigue, nausea, vomiting, irregular heartbeat, dizziness. That is a problem of hypertension. And how high blood pressure you can prevent it: reduce salt to less than 5 gram daily. सॉल्ट के अमाउंट को कम करना है बॉडी में. और ये WHO की वेबसाइट पे दी हुई है. देखो ये स्क्रीनशॉट आपको वर्ल्ड हेल्थ ऑर्गेनाइजेशन वेबसाइट से, विच वी विल सी इट हियर. Eat fruit and vegetables regularly. Avoid saturated fat and trans fat. Avoid tobacco product if you are using it. Reduce alcohol. Be physically active every day. So we can avoid, like we can say, we can avoid we can say hypertension. What is India's future strategy on emissions? So COP26, 27, as we know that the climate conference COP27 is Sharm el Sheikh was end on Friday, and the deadline was extended to weekend because there was a division among member countries on the final text of the agreement. While India unveiled the much awaited long-term low emissions development strategy during COP27, and India planned to ensure by 2025 the percentage of ethanol blend with petrol increased to 20% from its existing to 10%. So India is committed to being the net zero emission carbon emission की बात हो रही है यहाँ पे, net zero emissions by 2070. So what are the elements of India's low emission strategy? The 100 pages documents that lay out India's strategy underlines the nuclear power and hydrogen as critical to transitions India into a carbon neutral economy. Now moving further at a time to questions of the day. And as we know, the questions of the day is important because once you are able to solve the questions in your real exam, there is a kind of MCQs which you have if you have a good command over MCQ, they will probably have a chance to crack the exam. And daily basis पे अगर 2-3 questions MCQ या 10 questions MCQ if you are solving it, so you have a good command over the topics also. Here is the very first question. When air is heated in automobile engine, nitrogen oxide are produced. Nitric oxide NO is a greenhouse gas which reacts with oxygen to form nitrogen dioxide NO2. Diesel engine emits the particulate matter PM emissions. Which of the above statements are correct? Because as we can see that in Delhi, a diesel engine has been banned, so that's why there are lots of articles that was in the newspaper. So obvious that we can see that the option B would be the correct one. When air is heated in the automobile engine, nitrous oxide are produced. These include nitrogen dioxide, which is toxic, nitrous oxide, which is the greenhouse gas, and nitric oxide, which react with oxygen to form a harmful NO2. Nitric oxide on its own also increases the risk of respiratory problem in the long run. In a petrol engine, a 3-way catalytic converter reduces these emissions, ensuring that NOx emissions are about 30% lower than they would be in a diesel engine on average. जो modern diesel cars होती हैं are fitted with the particular filters that are care of nitrous oxide emission reducing by 90% according to some estimates. Diesel engines also emit fine particulate matter PM in their tailpipe emissions. This is essentially suit the finest particles of these which can be embedded deep in the lungs, and they can cause heart and respiratory problem in the long term, and particular molecules has also been linked to the cancer. Moving to the next one, nationally determined contributes NDC are the legally binding pledge to each country makes a reduce its emission and adapt to climate change. NDC we have already taken the session about nationally determined contributions. जो भी आप दिल्ली में देखते हो कि NDC का रिपोर्ट करती है नेशनल ग्रीन ट्रिब्यूनल को NGT को, then we see the diesel vehicles and all things was completely banned. The country have to update and expand their nationally determined contributions to every 5 years. The principle of common but differentiated responsibility (CBDR) was enshrined in the Kyoto Accord, which say that developed countries should take the lead in fighting climate change. Which statement is correct? So the option C was correct. NDC are the pledge that each country make to reduce its emissions and adapt to climate change from 2020. Onwards, country have to update and expand their NDC every 5 years. The last one. As per the Ramsar Convention, a wetland can be considered internationally important if it regularly support 20,000 or more water birds, it regularly support 1% of individuals in a population of one species or subspecies of water bird, it support vulnerable, endangered or critically endangered species or threatened ecological communities. So obviously all the statement is correct one. A wetland can be considered internationally important if any of the following 9 criteria applied. First क्या है? It contains a representatives, rare or unique example of natural or near natural wetland. It support vulnerable, endangered or critically endangered species. It support population of plant and animal species. It support plant or animal species of critical stage. It regularly support 20,000 or more water birds. It regularly support 1% of individual in a population of one species or we can say subspecies of water bird. It supports significant proportion of indigenous fish subspecies, and it is the important source of food for fishes, swapping ground, nursery and the migration path of which fish stock either within the wetland or elsewhere depend. So this is all about the session. I hope you enjoyed the session a lot. If you are new in this channel, please subscribe the channel and share to your friends and family group. And one more thing that daily news analysis, apart from daily news analysis, there are many sessions that has taken, as I told you in the beginning of the class. And do not forget to press the bell icon also. Stay tuned. Bye bye. Take care. We'll meet you tomorrow at the same time at 11:30. Thank you so much. Bye bye and take care. If you have any question, please let me know in the comment section. Thank you so much for joining with us.